Thanks, Dan. That was really, really nice. Good morning and welcome from Seneca, South Carolina, in the best Western down here. My name is Sherri Rasmussen, and I'm working as your worship associate this morning. If you have children, our worship for children is every Sunday from 9:45 to 10:15, and that just finished up. That's headed by our Director of Religious Education, Deb Little. If you're new to our fellowship, I'd like to extend a special welcome. Everyone is embraced and valued at our fellowship, so come on in, sit down, and exhale. I hope you find among us inspiration for living and nourishment for your spirit. You can find additional information about the 7 principles that we strive to live by in the About section of our webpage at UUFSB.org. At the conclusion of our morning service, stick around and say hi. We take a few minutes after the service for online coffee chat. It's a great opportunity to get to know some of us that are here and to make some new friends. It takes a few minutes for the technical team to get us all elevated, so just be patient. And after the greeting time, we also encourage you to join one of the online small group chats by leaving the main meeting and signing back into the small group chats. The meeting link is on our webpage or on the Saturday news feed. Again, the webpage is uufsb.org. Refill your coffee and share some quality time with fellow members and new friends. Welcome.
Come, come, whoever you are, wanderer, worshiper, lover of leaving, ours is no caravan of despair, though you've broken your vows 1,000 times. Come, yet again, come.
We've rounded all 4 seasons of this pandemic as it raged around us and within us. And finally, we're glimpsing the light at the end of the tunnel. UU minister Dan Schatz wrote this song in memory of our beloved dead, in recognition of those who carried the lion's share of the labor and risk, and in hope for future days made better by what we have learned. As I light this chalice, I invite everyone to light a candle along with me, and may the light represent hope for this new day as we all carry the flame together. When storms and sorrows gather around, you raised your head and stayed your ground. You carried the flame through the endless days of the hardest living.
Time you ever knew, the only thing that you could do was carry the flame. Sickness spreading through the land, you held your spirit in your hands and carried the flame. When storms and sorrows gathered round, you raised your head and you stayed your ground. You carried the flame through endless days of the hardest living. You kept on loving, kept on giving. You kept on and carried the flame. Carry the flame, raise it high, send its beacon through the sky. Keep it strong and shining through the pain. Let it rise and let it grow. Let it light the world, you know. Let it glow. Carry the flame. And when the day is done at last, we take on the spark you passed and carry the flame. From hand to hand we send it on, the kindling hope of a rising dawn. In us all we carry the flame. Carry the flame, raise it high, send its beacon through the sky. Keep it strong and shining through the pain. Rise and let it grow, let it light the world, you know. Let it glow. Carry the flame. We are nurses, doctors, teachers. We are children, parents, preachers, and we all carry the flame. We are scientists and cargo packers, farmers, singers, grocery stackers, young and old. We carry the flame. Raise it high, send its beacon through the sky. Keep it strong and shining through the pain. Let it rise and let it grow. Let it light the world, you know. Let it glow. Carry the flame. Let it glow. Carry the flame.
One of the things that the Unitarian Universalist Fellowship at Stony Brook decided in its collective wisdom while Linda and I were shut into Morocco on sabbatical at the beginning of our national response to the pandemic was to do whatever was necessary to continue to provide Sunday services to a congregation that could no longer gather in our physical sanctuary. We mark today the anniversary of the one Sunday that our service was canceled. It's been a long year of extraordinary effort for the team of musicians and worship associates and tech supporters that make our virtual services happen. Others in the congregation have stepped up as well to ramp up as needed to the demands of pandemic situations. It is in the spirit of gratitude, profound gratitude to all of them, that we enter into worship this morning. Melissa and Jess Pond and Weymouth and Bethany Riddle recorded our opening hymn this week. It's number 209 in our hymn book, Make Channels for the Streams of Love. In pagan tradition, earth-centered traditions, participants in ritual hold hands in a certain way that embodies the message of this hymn. You take the hand of your neighbor in the circle with your right palm up and your left hand palm down, receiving palm up from your right and giving palm down to your left. In this way, a channel is made for the flow of ritual energy clockwise or sunwise, the direction of creating, collecting, building, nourishing, sustaining. Excuse me for a sec. So if someone will be singing with you, wherever you are in the world right now, you might try linking hands to make a circle, right palm up and left palm down, sorry. If you're alone, try making a channel even in cyberspace, lifting your palms up in this position as you sing, receiving the melody from the right and passing it on to the left. Either way, see if you can sense the flow of energy as you sing.
Make channels for the streams of love where they may broadly run, and love has overflowing streams to fill in every one. But if at any time we see such channels to provide, the very founts of love for us will soon be parched and dried. For we must share if we would keep this gift all else above. We cease to give, we cease to have, such is the law of love.
Pledge dinners, where we sang songs. Good morning. My name is Ron Cagle, and I'm co-chair with John Morris of the Pledge Drive, which officially begins today. John is the technological guru. I'm the song and dance man, though actually I can't sing or dance. Actually, John can sing, though I'm not sure how well he dances. I have been known to tell a joke or two, but I digress. In past times, pre-COVID, most of us remember when we used to get together to have at pledge dinners, where we sang songs, told jokes, did skits, danced, and ate some delicious food, and generally had a good time fooling around together. All that fun helped get us into the mood to talk about pledging some of our hard-earned money to this fellowship and to the ministry that we do here. Hopefully we'll be able to get together sometime soon. In honor of those times, I developed a 73-year-old white guy's version of a rap tune. It's dedicated to all those folks who've helped keep our virtual services going in the time of COVID. COVID has us all on edge, but please stay off the ledge, because now it's time to make a pledge. Though we're all apart, we have a yearning for some art. Fears and insecurities are all around. We can help the world that we have found. Food drives, protecting the environment, Black Lives Matter, immigrant rights. These are all goals on which to set our sights. Community is what we need. Hate, ignorance, poverty, and prejudice we will never heed. Dance a jig, get a dog, sing a song. Let's all get together to get along. We'll get through this, I know we will. Take a chance, you have to pay the bills. Pledge what you can, pitch in, look at Dan. With love, we can make a stand.
You go, Ron. That was wonderful. But come, whoever you are, come and join me now on a path we'll walk together towards a minute of silent reflection. After the silence, Dan and Jess and Melissa and Bethany will bring us into a prayer set to music, hymn number 86, called Blessed Spirit of My Life. During the silence, the images upon which you might choose to rest your eyes this morning are two from the Creative Commons. The first, a dew-spangled spider web, and the second, a closer look at the world reflected in each drop on the web. What if this is what the universe looks like to God? Every living being in every community linked on a jewel-like web in which every good thing only moves among us if it moves through us. Let us keep silence together, each of us, separate dewdrop worlds on a web strung with every glistening world.
Blessed Spirit of my life, give me strength through stress and strife. Help me live with dignity. Let me know serenity. Fill me with a vision. Clear my mind of fear and confusion. When my thoughts flow restlessly, let peace find a home in me. Spirit of great mystery, hear the still small voice in me. Help me live my wordless creed as I comfort those in need. Fill me with compassion, be the source of my intuition. Then when life is done for me, let love be my legacy.
It's our spiritual practice to encourage ourselves in generosity by taking an offering that will be shared between our fellowship and an agency doing the work of social justice. Our Share the Plate recipient for the month of March is New Hour for Women and Children. This is an agency founded to provide meaningful support to current and formerly incarcerated women and to their children and families. They promote successful reentry health and wellness and parenting programs for women and youth in Yapak and Riverhead locations here and in Suffolk County. They also advocate for reform of the criminal justice system. They sponsor leadership and advocacy training programs that empower directly impacted people to use their experiences to affect change. During this time, when we cannot take a collection in person, please continue to send in your very much needed pledge payments and contributions to social justice. All are received with gratitude. Thank you.
Ours is a simple faith, life is a short embrace, heaven is in this place every day. Hope is the ground we till, make each day what you will, thankful for dreams fulfilled every day.
No room in this heart for fear, no judgment day drawing near, just that inner voice you hear every day. Life's not a goal or race, it's about heart and faith and living a life of grace every day.
Ours is a simple faith, life is a short embrace, heaven is in this place every day. Hope is the ground we till, make each day what you will, thankful for dreams fulfilled every day. Trust is an open hand, making an understand, rooted here in the land every day. Living the mystery, seeking the harmony, here between you and me every day. Ours is a simple sail, life is a short embrace, heaven is this place every day. Hope is the ground we till, make each day what you will, thankful for dreams fulfilled every day. Ours is a simple faith, life is a short embrace, heaven is in this place every day. Hope is the ground we till, make each day what you will, thankful for dreams fulfilled every day. Thankful for dreams fulfilled every
Thank you, Unicorn Singers. That was beautiful. So good morning, I'm John Morris. Rappin' Ron Cagle and I are co-chairs of this year's pledge drive. I'd like to speak to you this morning about pledges, which are essential to the life of our fellowship. I'll go into the numbers a bit because I think they're important to the story of where we are right now, which I think is a good story. Not good like we have no money worries, but still good. And don't worry if you miss some details. We have information at our website, and you'll receive a pledge packet in the mail. Let's start with the calendar. The fellowship fiscal year runs from July 1st to June 30th. To plan a budget for the fiscal year that starts this coming July, our finance committee needs to be able to estimate how much income will be coming in during the upcoming year. That's why your pledge now is so important. Now into the financial stuff for a little bit. This pie chart shows where our income has been coming from during the unusual year that we're in right now. Note that we've depended more than ever on your pledges and additional donations as building use and fundraiser income dropped. Now, this pie chart shows how our money has been spent during the current fiscal year. Our finance team had to work hard to make ends meet. We've only been paying interest on our mortgage, and we also greatly reduced committee budgets. So here's the story that I see in those numbers. The pandemic hit just as last year's pledge drive began. It was a difficult time to ask people to make financial commitments. It's not surprising that the number of pledges dropped. The good news is that the average pledge amount still went up, and we raised enough money to keep the fellowship afloat. So here's the first of 3 key messages that Ron and I want to share with you as pledge drive chairs. Thank you to all who were able to make pledges in last year's drive. We understand why some folks had to drop out, but in the best spirit of the pandemic, others stepped up and picked up the slack. People stepped up in so many other ways to keep the fellowship going. A team of members reinvented our Sunday worship online. So many worked behind the scenes to reach out to those who needed assistance and to keep fellowship business going. Our social justice and racial concerns committees kept us in touch with important issues in our community and the nation. Our whole fellowship community found ways to stay safe and stay connected. That's something else that I think we can really feel good about. So we're not through this pandemic yet, but we can see the light at the end of the tunnel. I think we've learned a lot about ourselves. I'm very optimistic about our future. So that's message number 2 for me and Ron. We believe that the fellowship can come out of this pandemic year better and stronger than before. But it looks like we have a difficult transition to make in the upcoming fiscal year. We expect to have more income from both building use and fundraisers, but we don't know how quickly that will ramp up. We'll need to resume full mortgage payments, and we certainly hope that we can restore money to our committees and programs. That's why we expect to once again rely more on pledges to get us through. Our pledge drive goal for the coming year is $285,000, a 12% increase from last year's pledge total. How much you pledge is a personal decision. Our average pledge last year was $2,137, but pledge amounts vary widely. We want our pledge total to go up by 12%. We know that everybody is not able to increase their pledge by 12%, but we're confident that, like last year, enough people will be in a position to provide the extra help that we need. And that brings me to the last of our 3 key messages. Every pledge of every size is received with gratitude. Thank you for your attention. And Thank you in advance for your pledges. Feel free to contact me or Ron by email or phone if you have any questions about the pledge process. Thank you.
Thanks for laying that out for us, John. So being essential. I doubt that there is anyone listening right now who hasn't spent at least a little time thinking about the word essential. Surely it is one of those words that will attach itself to our historical moment pretty indelibly. Early on in this pandemic year, we had to decide what exactly of all the work we do, of all the products Americans crank out of factories and businesses, of all the things we want and buy, of all the places we go, of all the help we reach out to get, of all the ways we offer to help others, what of all that stuff we'd put in the category of essential in a time of crisis. Even the relatively privileged among us have had some practice making discernments like these over recent years. I'm thinking of the weeks we spent here on Long Island after Hurricane Sandy swept over, and every one of us suddenly became acutely aware of our essential attachment to things like electricity and cars and showers and the propane grill and the wood stove and whatever it was we had on hand in the timing out refrigerator and freezer and pantry. In that crisis, it was generators and gasoline and cash and candles and cell phone battery power, not toilet paper and hand sanitizer, that seemed completely essential and were just as essentially quite quickly unavailable. We had to think about our priorities in life and what sets of needs and values guide us in making those decisions. In the aftermath of Sandy, there wasn't actually much any of us could do but wait, listening, battery permitting, to snatches of news. That was the bottom line. Everything stopped. Life became quite tricky, but not for all that long for most of us. I think also of times, relatively ordinary times, when I, and probably you at some point, have had to break something down into essentials. I'm thinking of camping, backpacking kinds of decisions about what you just can't do without out there in the wilderness. You have to choose between this and that device or comfort based on likelihood of need and also on weight and bulk. It all has to fit into the car or into the pack, whose total weight you yourself must bear up and down the trail, no matter what. In the last few years, when I've been off away from you on study leave, we've been staying in Airbnb type situations in which one of my top priorities is having a kitchen that works for making a month or so of meals. And believe me, Airbnb hosts are not inclined to outfit their kitchens for people who like to cook. It's bare essentials only, and usually warped, broken, or dull bare essentials. So which favorite frying pans and pots will fit into this one carton that will fit into the car? What knives, what baking pans, what spices and herbs? Do I bring the mixer? Do I not bring the mixer? What bowls and spatulas and peelers? And what about the garlic press? Last summer at Row Camp in Northwest Massachusetts, the kitchenette featured a delightful mint green retro design 3-foot tall mini fridge with a separate freezer. I have to admit, I wanted to steal it and bring it home. It was so cute. Okay, so there it was, but How was I going to make a gin and tonic without ice? I had no tiny ice trays. So I made ice in the cups of a plastic egg carton. See how necessity reimagines the essentials. But the meaning of the word essential goes deeper, though, than the idea of what is needed, what we can't do without. The ESSE part of the word, essie, comes from the ancient Proto-Indo-European root meaning to be, to exist, the essence, the being of a thing, its essential nature. I like my kitchen knives more than any knife in an Airbnb kitchen drawer because my knife is balanced and durable and sharp. It embodies the essence of knifeness and therefore does its work admirably. A number of observers of the steps we've taken to respond to the COVID-19 pandemic have noted that what we mean when we talk about essential workers is not so much that the people themselves are, sorry, I don't know what's wrong with my voice this morning. It's not so much that the people themselves are in their essence fit for their jobs, but that the work they do is essential, that it's needed by a country in extremis. The work is needed. We value the output more than we value the people who put out the work. This is literally true if you look at what we pay those designated in this crisis time as essential workers. Factory line workers, grocery store workers, industrial housekeepers, hospital personnel, nursing home aides, public transit workers, teachers, and others. It's pretty clear that the wealth in our country does not cluster in the essential workers tier of our economy. We do not compensate these people upon whom we most depend for the essential goods of life, for the depth to which they have honed their personal being, their essence, their values and priorities, to the essential service they provide, even with significant risk to themselves and their families during a global pandemic. Thus, the irony that the $1.9 trillion pandemic relief bill did not, in the end, contain a national minimum wage increase to a paltry $15 per hour. We do not pay a living wage for heart and devotion and duty and courage in the pursuit of connection and meaning. The people who make the most money in this nation, as in others, make it buying and selling things to no particular end in mind, except making more money. After some weeks of thinking about what I was going to say this morning about what is essential, I remembered the book The Little Prince by Antoine de Saint-Exupéry, especially the important piece of wisdom spoken by the fox to the little prince. "Goodbye," said the fox. And now here is my secret, a very simple secret. It is only with the heart that one sees rightly. What is essential is invisible to the eye. And I repeat, as did the little prince, so that he would be sure to remember, what is essential is invisible to the eye. What is essential is that we engage in our lives with matters of consequence and take responsibility, as the fox puts it, for what we have tamed, also known as for that to which and those to whom we are connected heart to heart, which, as we know from the web, is everyone. What I had forgotten about the story Saint-Exupéry tells is that the little prince visits a number of inhabited small asteroids on his way from his own tiny planet to the vast Sahara Desert on planet Earth. On each one of these little asteroids, he finds a man living an essentially purposeless life. He met a king with no subjects, a conceited man with no one to admire him, a tippler who drank in order to forget that he was ashamed of drinking, a red-faced businessman who felt he owned the stars and obsessively counted them day in and day out, a lamplighter who continued to faithfully follow orders to light and extinguish his lamp, even though his planet was rotating now so fast that a day passed every minute, so he had no time to rest or play. And finally, he met a geographer who could record nothing in his large volumes about his own planet because there were no explorers to report to him and offer the required proof of geographical discoveries. On planet Earth, the little prince finds Saint-Exupéry trying to repair his airplane before he dies of thirst in the desert. A man capable, the prince finds out, with some encouragement, of both connecting with other beings and of loving what he tames, the essential work of life. However it is that life arose here, and regardless of any larger frame of meaning, it is clear, at least to me, that life asks us to connect, to love, and to hone our essential being to discover what we are meant to do for other beings and our planet, and to do it well. The essential workers in this country are people who care, who can articulate the meaning of their lives, their purpose, who honor both their freedom within and their responsibility to communities in which they dwell, and who find a way to develop and deliver their gifts to people who need them. You joined us here this morning in order to be reminded how to do that, how to be a worker whose essence is tuned to making life better. And if you've wondered what possible reason you might have for giving a share of your income every year to this Unitarian Universalist Fellowship, this is it. Working and playing and learning and teaching and leading and helping and gathering for services here makes life better. And not just for us. I'm thinking of my knife's essence. I keep it really sharp because that's how it is meant to be. It keeps me safer in exchange because actually statistically, I'm less likely to cut myself if my knife is sharp. We're connected. Who are you meant to be, essentially? How can you best serve others? What do you need in order to open to others as a channel for love and a channel for help? Learning the answers to those questions is worth 1 trillion stars, and the answers are here. Amen. Right now, spring is most obviously coming. At our house, the snow-squashed azaleas are springing back to their bushy selves, and our backyard right now is splashed with sparkling white patches of snowdrops. With the warming air and the green of new life, our attention turns to stories of hope and their festivals. Easter and Passover are also coming. Our closing hymn reminds us of the love song, Life Keeps Singing Underneath Everything. Even in those moments when our human ears are tuned to another channel, something always, always sings. Bethany and Maureen Shaiman lead us in number 344, A Promise Through the Ages Rings. I hope you'll join in singing.
A promise through the ages rings, that always, always something sings, not just in May, in finch-filled hour, but in December's coldest hour. The note of hope sustains us all. A life is made of many things, bright stars, bleak years, and broken rings. Can it be true that through all things there always, always something sings? The universal song of life, entombed within our deep despair, our pain seems more than we can bear. But days shall pass, and nature knows the day beneath the winter snow. The rose lies curled and hums its song, for something always, always sings. This is the message you spring from deep despair and perished things. A green shoot always, always springs, and something always, always sings.
Our closing words are a letter I wrote the other day, March 11th, 2021, Beth El Synagogue Center, 1324 North Avenue, New Rochelle, New York, 10804. Dear friends, I tried to make a donation online on your website and failed twice. You might consider making it easier to donate because I imagine there are others besides myself who might wish to pay tribute to your Samuel Kirsch, the vaccine appointment finder. He mentions in his description of his bar mitzvah project that a donation to Bethel Synagogue might be a good way to say thanks for his service. Please find enclosed a check for $50 offered with gratitude to Sam for his generosity and skill in finding for me and over 2,000 other New Yorkers so far an appointment for a COVID vaccine. It took him 2 days to secure one for me, and since then I have passed his website URL to 10 other people. Thank you for helping to shape faithful and big-hearted young people such as Sam. What a gift to the world. Toda Rabba. Sincerely yours, Reverend Margaret H. Allen. I found out about Sam Kirsch, a 7th grader from Scarsdale, New York, and his website, vaccinehelper.com, vaccinehelperruntogether.com, from a neighbor who posted on an app we have called Nextdoor. Sam had helped her get an appointment for her first vaccine, and she was letting others know about it. I read what Sam said about himself on his website. He wrote, after helping to secure vaccine appointments for all 4 of my grandparents, I realized that I could help out many more people. It's also my bar mitzvah year, so I started this website to fulfill my mitzvah project at my temple. As it turns out, getting appointments at the biggest vaccine sites in New York is easy if you know how to do it, if you have patience, and if you have the speed. Later, I learned that he splits his computer screen between his homework and his vaccine finding sites so that he can quickly pivot to grab the fleeting appointments as they show up. He says it's like playing a video game. At the moment, his success total is now up to 2,272 appointments made for fellow New Yorkers. These are our closing words because Sam is an essential worker. He works from the heart. And see how his love flows through the web to others who need it. Sam will help you too if you are still struggling to get a vaccine. They're easier to get these days. And perhaps you also will pass Sam's goodness on to others who need a piece of it. vaccinehelper.com. It's legit. CBS News and People magazine have already covered Sam's story. And I saw him there. He's a little guy. He has a brother and 2 apricot poodle dogs, and he is shy.
As I extinguish our chalice this afternoon, I share these words from Amy Zucker Morgenstern. When we take fire from our chalice, it does not become less, it becomes more. And so we extinguish our chalice, but we take its light and warmth with us, multiplying their power by all of our lives and sharing it with the world.
And our benediction comes from the Tao Te Ching. This is from number 8. In dwelling, live close to the ground. In thinking, keep to the simple. In conflict, be fair and generous. In governing, don't try to control. In work, do what you enjoy. In family life, be completely present. When you are content to be simply yourself and don't compare or compete, everyone will respect you. Amen, my friends.